Something is stirring in you. You've felt it. A shift, subtle but undeniable. You're more alert lately, more sensitive. The things that once felt small now carry weight, and the noise of the world feels louder than ever. That's not anxiety. That's awareness. Before anything changes on the outside, something deeper begins to move inside the chosen. And not everyone can sense it, but those who do are being prepared. And what I'm about to share with you is not speculation. It's not theory. It's ancient knowledge carried through disciplined practice, through silence, and through the body itself. In Shaolin wisdom, we don't wait for prophecies. We study perception. We train the body to become sensitive, because the body is the first place heaven whispers. You'll learn why your restlessness lately is not random, why you've been waking up at strange hours, why some people are suddenly leaving your life. You'll understand how spiritual energy interrupts daily life, not to punish, but to realign. By the end of this video, you'll know the signs of divine interruption. You'll understand how to respond, not with fear, but with stillness. And most importantly, you'll learn how to confirm what you've already been sensing, that something sacred is moving toward you. Stay with me. We're going deep, beyond comfort, beyond logic. This is where ancient mastery meets modern transformation, where your soul finally begins to remember. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. If this path speaks to you, subscribe now. This is not just a channel, it's a training ground for those who know they were born for something more. There was a time I believed heaven was a place, a distant realm, far from this world of noise and hunger, but years on the mountain taught me otherwise. Heaven is not a destination, it is a frequency, a state of harmony that begins inside you. When a Shaolin monk sweeps the temple floor, he is not escaping the world, he is entering it more fully. His movement is precise, his breath is steady, his mind is still. This is not just cleaning, it is alignment, and in that alignment, heaven is present. You must understand this. Your thoughts, your actions, your energy, these are instruments. Most people let them play in chaos, but the chosen begin to tune them. When your thoughts become clear, your actions become clean. When your energy is no longer scattered but rooted, then you begin to walk differently, speak differently. Even silence feels full. Heaven reveals itself not in visions, but in coherence. It's when the mind stops arguing with the body, when your spirit no longer drags behind your schedule, when you are where you are, fully. This is why we do not run from suffering. We breathe into it. We do not chase light. We become still enough to receive it. Many seek escape, calling it enlightenment. But real mastery is embodiment, returning again and again to this moment, no matter how heavy, and standing in it with an open heart and a grounded spine. So if you're looking for heaven, stop looking up. Start looking in. Ask yourself, is there harmony in your decisions? Is there integrity in your energy? Because when those elements come into balance, you don't need to reach heaven. You realize it's been reaching for you all along. There is a silence that is not just the absence of noise, but the presence of something greater. You don't fall into it, you enter it like a temple, slowly, intentionally. Shaolin monks are trained to return to this silence daily, not as retreat, but as reset. Before the body moves, before the voice speaks, the breath must settle, the mind must clear. Otherwise, all action is just reaction. In the monastery, even the simple act of sitting is treated as sacred, not to think, not to plan, just to be. Eyes softened, spine straight, hands resting like still water, and in that space, something shifts. Most people never touch this kind of quiet. They distract themselves before the silence can show them anything real. But the chosen, the ones who are training their inner world, they know silence is not emptiness, it's revelation. Because once the noise inside fades, your senses sharpen. You feel the tightness in your chest you've been ignoring. You notice how your breath has been shallow all day. You hear the subtle tension in your thoughts, the echo of something unresolved. This is where inner mastery begins, not in control, but in awareness. And awareness only arises in stillness. The silence doesn't lie to you. It doesn't flatter you, it simply shows you what is. And when you return to life from that place, your words carry more weight. Your movements become deliberate. You stop chasing and start listening, because now you can actually hear. To cross this threshold is to step into a different way of being. Not louder, not faster, just clearer, more aligned, more human. There's a moment in every seeker's path where the questions grow louder than the answers. You look to the sky. You watch the clock. You scan for numbers, dreams, anything that might confirm you're on the right path. But this is where the ancient path differs. In the Shaolin tradition, we are not taught to chase signs. We are taught to become still enough to embody them. A master doesn't wait for lightning to strike. He trains in the rain. He sharpens his blade long before the battle, because he knows signs are not given to those who beg. They appear to those who are ready. There is a story of a monk who was asked how he knows the right time to act. He replied, "My breath is steady. My feet are rooted. When it's time, I simply move. No omen, no dramatic signal, just readiness, just clarity." The chosen don't follow signs. They become the sign. You can see it in their posture, in the way they walk into a room with peace instead of noise, in the way they speak slowly but their words cut deep. Their life is the message. This is why the Shaolin path emphasizes discipline not as punishment but as preparation. The body learns precision, the mind learns focus, and in that clarity, answers become unnecessary. You are the answer. So stop searching the sky. Return to your breath. Clean your space. Speak only what aligns. Live in such a way that heaven doesn't need to send a message because your life already speaks it. This is presence. This is mastery. Not in waiting, but in becoming. A bird senses the storm before the clouds form. It doesn't study weather charts. It feels the pressure shift. It moves without needing to understand why. Humans are no different. We carry ancient instruments inside us, senses that go beyond the five we were taught. But in a world loud with distractions, those senses go unused. Or worse, misread as fear, anxiety, restlessness, that tightness in your chest, that flutter in your belly, that strange stillness in your thoughts. It's not paranoia, it's perception, the deeper kind, the kind that rises before logic can explain it. In Shaolin training, this awareness is cultivated, not as superstition, but as skill. Through breath, movement, and stillness, the body becomes a listening device. It picks up what the mind has missed. Mindfulness sharpens this sensitivity, not to overwhelm you, but to teach you how to interpret. You learn to separate true signals from passing noise. You stop reacting and start recognizing. There was a time when you would have ignored the sensation, brushed it off. Now you pause. You feel it fully. You ask, what is this telling me? Over time, you stop second-guessing. You don't need external confirmation. The knowing comes from within, quiet, grounded, clear. This is the difference between guessing and sensing, between panic and presence. You are not broken. You are becoming more aware. The shift you feel in your body isn't a mistake. It's a message. And with discipline, that message becomes a language, a guidance system, a spiritual compass that points not north but inward, toward alignment, toward truth. When the wind howls, the mountain does not move. It doesn't chase calm. It becomes. There are weeks when the world spins faster. You feel it, not just in the news or in people's moods, but in your own body. A buzzing under the skin, a mind that won't settle, sleep that feels light, restless. Something is rising. Most people speed up to match it. They push harder, talk faster, stay busy, so they don't have to feel. But the ones who've trained for this, the chosen, they do the opposite. They root. In Shaolin, when energy becomes unstable, we don't add more movement. We return to breath, deep, steady, intentional. Because the breath is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. The moment you take control of it, you reclaim your ground. It begins simply. Inhale through the nose, slowly, feel the air move down to the belly. Hold, exhale through the mouth. Let it all go. Again and again, until the body softens. until the spirit drops back into the body. This is not reaction, it's return. A return to presence, a return to rhythm, a return to the truth beneath the chaos. Some energies aren't meant to be fought, they're meant to be witnessed. Let them pass over you like a wave over stone. You don't need to resist, you need to anchor. And this is what breath work becomes. An anchor, not just for calm, but for clarity. For remembering who you are when everything around you forgets. So this week, when the current rises, don't float away. Sink deeper into stillness. Let your breath do what panic never could, bring you home. The body always speaks first. Before thought forms, before emotion has a name, the body already knows. Tight shoulders when you speak a half-truth. Shallow breath around someone who drains you. A sudden heaviness when you walk into the wrong place. These are not coincidences. They are messages. The ancient past understood this. They didn't begin with philosophy. They began with posture, with walking, with breath. Because if the body isn't aligned, no teaching can take root. You can memorize wisdom and still suffer if you don't feel it in your bones. Mindfulness doesn't begin in the mind. It begins in sensation, in the subtle shift of your spine when you're anxious, in the knot in your stomach when something's off, in the fatigue that no sleep seems to cure. But here's the problem. We're trained to ignore it, to override, push through, numb out, and so the body speaks louder until it's no longer a whisper, but a scream. Discipline, in the ancient way, is not just effort, it's attention. Daily, quiet attention to how your body reacts, not just to stress, but to truth, to peace, to alignment. This is why monks train in repetition. It's not just physical, it's spiritual. They're learning to hear what the body is saying before the mind even catches up. You don't need more information, you need deeper sensation. The next time something feels off, don't rush to fix it. Sit with it. Breathe into it. Ask your body what it knows. Because often, what the mind can't express, the body already has. And when you learn to listen there, you stop guessing. You stop second-guessing. You begin to move from a place that's quiet, clear, and deeply honest. There are seasons where nothing seems to stay in place. Plans fall through. People change. Your energy rises one day and collapses the next. Everything you once leaned on begins to shift. Most call it chaos. But those who walk the inner path learn to see it differently. In Shaolin tradition, disruption is not avoided. It's welcomed. Because real training doesn't begin when life is smooth. It begins when the rhythm breaks, when your timing is off, when nothing goes how you expected. That's the real dojo, not the temple floor, but the unexpected moment. A monk once said, "You don't train for peace, you train in peace. So when the storm comes, you already know how to move. So when routines crumble and emotions swing, that's not failure, it's opportunity to see where you're still reactive, to notice what still controls you, to discover what still needs discipline." Divine rearrangement never asks for permission. It clears space, sometimes by force, sometimes with silence, but always with purpose. You may not understand it now, but look closely. The person who left was already halfway gone. The door that closed was too small for where you're going. The quiet you're sitting in now, that's not absence, that's alignment being rebuilt. In the Shaolin View, nothing is random. Every interruption carries a lesson. Every discomfort trains the spirit. The more quickly you stop resisting the shift, the more clearly you begin to walk it. The path doesn't disappear when things fall apart. Sometimes it only becomes visible then, not through what stays, but through what leaves. Not in what you planned, but in what you now face. This isn't chaos. This is a calling, one you were born ready to meet. When the world speeds up, the undisciplined speed up with it. They check their phones more, speak without thinking, act without grounding. Reaction becomes the default. But the ones who have trained, the ones walking the quieter path, they return to something different, ritual. In Shaolin life, everything begins with rhythm. The same time to rise, the same breath before movement, the same slow steps from one stone to the next. These aren't habits, they're anchors. Because in a world that constantly shifts, ritual holds. It reminds you who you are, even when everything else forgets. The ritual may be simple: a bowl of tea prepared with full attention, a silent walk in the early light, hands sweeping the temple floor with no goal except presence. But in that simplicity, the mind settles. The breath returns to depth, and clarity rises like mist off still water. When weeks grow intense, you don't need more effort. You need more rhythm. Without it, the mind scatters. It clings to urgency. It confuses movement for progress. But ritual teaches a different way. Be deliberate, not frantic. Ritual doesn't fix chaos. It transforms your relationship to it. When the breath is steady, choices slow down. When the body moves with intention, the spirit doesn't get swept away. And slowly, without force, clarity returns. Not as an idea, but as a state. You know what to do. You know when to pause. You act not because of pressure, but because of timing. This is why the chosen return to the simple things. Because in those small, steady acts, they find the thread that holds everything together, not in escape, not in avoidance, but in rhythm. And through rhythm, the path clears. Clarity never shouts. It waits, beneath the noise, under the rushing thoughts. Behind the urgency, you'll find it sitting in silence. Most people never hear the deeper signals, not because they're unworthy, but because they're never still long enough. Their minds are loud, their breath is shallow, their bodies are tense from carrying what was never theirs. But the sacred doesn't arrive through pressure, it waits for presence. In Shaolin tradition, stillness is a discipline. You train to be still, not frozen, but rooted, awake, aware, so when the world roars outside, your center stays untouched. This is why monks begin and end the day in silence, why they breathe before they speak, why they move slowly, even when time rushes. Because heaven doesn't compete with noise, it disappears into it. The body must quiet, the breath must deepen, and only then the spirit begins to listen. When this happens, something subtle enters, a knowing, a weightless certainty. You don't need to ask for signs. They arrive on their own through a word overheard, a feeling in the chest, a sense that says this is the way, and it's never dramatic. It's clear, soft, gentle, but it moves through you with such strength that you no longer seek outside validation. You've touched something deeper, and now you trust it. In stillness, confirmation doesn't come through effort. It comes through resonance. Something within you aligns with something beyond you, and that's enough. So if you're waiting for a sign, pause. Turn down the volume of your life. Slow your breath, soften your body, and listen, not with your ears, but with your being, because what you're waiting for is already whispering, and stillness is how you finally hear it. So now you know what you've been feeling isn't random. It's not confusion, it's contact. The world may look the same, but something in you is different. You're more attuned, more open, more ready than you've ever been. The invitation isn't to chase what's coming. It's to prepare your space, to align your breath, your thoughts, your actions, to let your life become clear enough that the sacred can find you without resistance. Start small, breathe slower, walk quieter, pay attention to what your body is telling you. These aren't minor things, they're doorways. In Shaolin practice, transformation doesn't happen all at once. It builds through rhythm, through repetition, through remembering. So if something shifts this week, and it will, don't panic. Breathe into it. Let it move you gently toward what's already yours. And if this path speaks to you, if you feel the pull to go deeper into stillness, discipline, and inner mastery, then this is your place. Subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire and continue walking with us. Peace in your breath, clarity in your steps. Until next time.